Hello, everybody. Welcome to Healing Fire and welcome to Nathe from the Third Wish. If you've been living under a rock and don't know who Nathe is, this is Nathe. Thank you so much for joining the channel and thank you. You previously had me on your channel and thank you very much for that as well. I really appreciate it. So, how are you?
I am very good. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Happy for this first time on your channel. Kind of excited to experience kind of how it feels and discussing hot topics and interacting with the group here. So, yeah.
Well, thank you. And so I can't imagine people don't know who you are, but in case somebody doesn't know who you are, would you like to share with everyone who you are and what you do and maybe what you have coming up?
Awesome. Yeah. So I am a psychic. I am a medium. I do obviously private appointments. I'm a card reader. I think this is really kind of what I like best. I've always enjoy reading the cards. I started reading cards, playing cards when I was 9. So that's a long time
Really?
ago. Yes,
wow.
And I still have, I mean, like, believe it or not, I just grabbed this from my desk and here we are. I have the playing cards where that I love to read. So I started like that. And then after that, I went to tarot. I went to different systems. And I kind of always had the passion for the divination side of things. So yes, I'm interested by healing. I'm interested by a bunch of things that are in the, in the general esoteric arts. But I really like the divination side of things. And so I've been a full-time reader for the last 5 years professionally, and then started my channel a year ago. It feels like
really? Just a year ago?
Just a year, I know.
Oh my gosh. So when is your channel birthday?
It's already passed.
Okay.
Yeah, it was in January, so it's already passed. But I celebrate the channel every day, so I'm happy about it. I know it has really done well for a year. I think, in all humility, I'm very happy about it. Just from the community that's been created, the amazing group of people that chance to meet people like you, as well as obviously our viewers. But I've never had a bad experience in 1 year, so very, very happy.
Well, congratulations. I thought you'd been doing this much longer. We're almost coming up to a year. April 11th is my channel birthday.
Okay.
So
Well, you said it was your birthday also? Did I hear you right?
Next week, yeah. Yep.
So your birthday and your channel birthday are almost the same sign. Maybe.
We're both Aries.
Wow.
That's really funny. I hadn't thought about that. So yeah. That makes sense. And then healing fire, it's a fire sign. So
okay, so here we go. My channel, well, actually, interesting. Actually, really, I started to work on my channel in January last year, but I think it was born officially in Scorpio season a few months before, which makes sense because I'm rising Scorpio. Now I'm just also thinking about it. See, there might be something. We should really all look. If you have a channel, look at the date of birth of your channel and your sign and your sign and do the chart properly. And I'm talking like I'm an astrologer. I'm not an astrologer. But that's very interesting. Yes.
That is. I hadn't thought about that. That is very curious. And I have a new grandbaby and he's a Scorpio. So there you go.
Right.
Oh my goodness. So now I believe I heard you say one time you're a third generation psychic. Is that correct?
Yeah. So my grandmother, my mom, myself, I think it's all from the mother side here.
Wow. So did you grow up with this being normal, I guess?
Somewhat. I mean, because when you're a 9-year-old child and your parents says, okay, you really need to do any kind of sports or fitness. We're gonna give you a week, and you tell which sports you're gonna do. And after a week, I say, yeah, my sport is I'm gonna read the playing card. That actually didn't go badly. It was just a bit of a surprise.
Interesting. So did they help like teach you and open up your gifts or teach you how to work with them?
No, I was fairly encouraged, but I felt like I really learned a lot on my own. A lot on my own. But my mom is very psychic. She has a good, like a really strong intuition, but also as a kind of fun fact is that anytime something big happens, her watch would stop. And so when like my grandpa, her dad passed, her watch stopped in the middle of the night. When my dad, my father, her husband died, her watch stopped in the middle of the night. She can't really use credit card because there's too much magnetism on the cards, that sort of thing.
I've been dealing with that kind of stuff my whole life too. Like electronics and me are a challenge, and I
Panic,
even stopped wearing
panic.
watches for a long time, and now I sell them, and so I have a watchmaker at the ready if I need one.
True. That's true.
But yeah, I quit wearing them because I'm like they always die on me anyway. So what's the point? Well, I'm going to say hello to a few people who've popped in, and then Nathan and I are going to talk about some politics today because there's some things going on that I want to dig into a little bit. But hey, Karina, welcome. Ola and artist Liz, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Shining Love, Light, Truth. Hello, Craig Dixon. How are you? Peace and Love, 3478. Hello, welcome. Cindy Jerry, welcome. Salama Witena, welcome. Jackie B in the house. Hello. Good, great. Bubblegum Pop. Hello. Thank you everybody for hopping in. Really appreciate you and love the community. Nathan and I were talking about this backstage that's this is a joy for both of us, that the community and the people and that's been one of the great things about starting a channel. So have you found that there's you kind of see a lot of the same people, but there's just a nice community and a good support?
Very much so. Very much so. It's kind of interesting also to consider that in some ways, if Trump hadn't been here, maybe we wouldn't have had all of us here.
That's true. That is
In
true,
some weird
actually.
ways. In some weird ways. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. This was never on my bingo card. This was not in my plan. And my guides were just like, you need to do this. You need to do this, and I kept just, no, that's nice. You're correct. No. And, and, finally it was after he got installed the second time, they were like, you have to do this now. And January got really intense. Like, you have to do this now. And I just kept being like, like, really? And finally, April 11th, one day, I'm like, fine. And I just started. Still don't know what I'm doing.
Oh, no. I thought you meant that Trump was not on your bingo card.
Oh, well, yeah. That I knew was a train wreck. I could see that one a mile coming. Or, yeah. Yeah. No, I'm agreeing with your point though, that if it wasn't for him, maybe we wouldn't all be called to like start doing this and come
Or
forward.
be that many, or just unite, or feel a community. It's always in those tough moments that you have people gatherings. Look at what happened with 9/11 when everyone came together. Kind of the same thing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, you find the bright spot when during trauma.
True. That's true.
uh, hey, Heart Center Tarot, Marina, how are you? Sherry, Voices from the Swamp, hello. So I'm curious on that note. I was watching this morning, just kind of tapping into a few different interviews from different news sources, and a lot of people keep saying that the megas are starting to wake up and Trumpers are starting to wake up, and yet I still, like, where I live technically in a blue state, but really we're a blue dot in a red state, honestly. A lot of what I see is that they're still not waking up. And then I'm listening to these interviews of these people, and I know that he owns the media at this point. I totally get that. But that's the problem, is that, you got these people that don't immerse themselves in politics and don't immerse themselves into what's going on. And all they hear is his rhetoric, and they buy it because they don't really think much beyond that. And that's literally what they were doing, was repeating his rhetoric. Oh, well, Iran's been beating up on us for 50 years, and well, they have a nuclear bomb that they are getting ready to shoot off on it. It's like they believe the drivel, and they don't have any critical thinking skills, nor do they have the time. These are people who are literally just going on about their day. They catch the news clips. They don't think much more about it. But unfortunately, a huge part of our country, that's how they operate. So I'm curious your thoughts on, is it just, the blue groups, the liberal groups that are saying, yeah, they're starting to wake up and that's hopeful thinking? Or do you really think that they are actually starting to see the light in a lot of cases?
That's a great question. I think it depends on who we call they.
Yeah.
If we're just talking MAGA, there's certainly, I think everything that you talked about, I would agree. If we're talking about the 2024 Trump electorate, there's a lot of people waking up here. Very, very much so. The independents that voted for him, the Latinos that voted for him, a lot of people are waking up here. So I think, the way that I look at this is, if you're really looking at it purely from an election perspective, what we really need to move over our side is maybe 10%. That's all we need to win next time. It's not that many. Yeah. And it's very doable. And so that 10%, I would bet that we have it today. But I would also say within that core MAGA group, yeah, people are going to wake up when they're going to pay double for gas. People are going to wake up when they can't afford certain. People are going to wake up when the next Thanksgiving, they're going to realize, like, whoa, I can't feed all this group of people. I would not to ask people to donate money, because putting together a Thanksgiving meal for 10 people or 8 people is going to cost me an arm and a leg. I really feel, and when that happens, then people really wake up. And so, sadly, my point of view is that if we need to get to a point where it's the economy, not the morals, not the ethics, not the right, not the spirituality that wakes them up, but it's when they are putting gas on their car, then so be it. We'll have to take that so that their wake-up call happens.
Well, and that's been what I've thought this entire time, is they're going to buy into the rhetoric, but when it comes to the point of their health care is gone, their food stamps are gone, they don't have the income, they can't buy diapers and formula for their babies, they can't feed themselves, they can't take care of their parents or their grandparents, they can't, it's going to hit the fan at some point, and quite frankly, that's what a lot of those people care about. They don't care about anything else. They care about, can I put food on the table? And while the rest of us see that this is coming like an out of control train, unfortunately, those are the people that are going to have to hurt, and they're our lowest common denominator. So we all have to hurt while we wait for them to figure it out, And then it was interesting because one of the guys that was being interviewed straight up said, whatever you believe on morals or thoughts or anything else, he goes, really, it boils down to ROI. What's the return on investment? And he's right. He's right. I mean, that's what is our return on investment? But do the people believe the drivel? Because it didn't work for Joe Biden to go, oh, the economy's great. I mean, it was way better than the rest of the world in recovering from COVID, but people still were dealing with inflation and weren't happy. That bottom line, so while a lot of the liberals were like, yeah, but Trump is going to be so much worse, and we saw it coming a mile away. It doesn't matter because a lot of people couldn't put food on the table still, and now it's getting worse. So the fact that F-45 is sitting there going, oh yeah, everything's great. This is the greatest economy ever. I'm the greatest president ever. Biden was the worst president ever. His typical drivel that his base is going to believe. Bottom line is gas is doubling in price. Around here, we're getting ready to pay, almost $5 a gallon. That's insane.
I know. And the other thing, when we start to see a lot more casualties, human casualties, American casualties from this war, that also gonna hurt deeply because the core MAGA group, and let's not even think about the whole electorate, but does not want that. They feel that this is not, kind of back to your point on return on investment, then that return becomes so drastically terrible.
Which is why they're not reporting the real numbers. You have outside the United States, they're reporting, hundreds are being hurt and killed. And I think they report 7? That's what they're telling us. Like, that is not true.
Exactly. And even what's the official number for wounded?
Oh, so,
there's no number.
They're attacking our bases there. You can't tell me there's not hundreds and hundreds of wounded. And they're all being shipped to Germany. So, I mean,
hospitals are full, and those military hospitals are full. So, yeah. I mean, and the reason that it's not coming through yet is because obviously when you're a parent and have your kid go to war or on a military expedition, they tell their parents, you are not going to hear from me. I can't call you. If I call you, I put my life at risk. That's what they're told to say. So those parents, they say, well, we're not hearing from them.
Yeah.
That's normal.
Well, I had military in my family. I was married to a Marine for 22 years, and both of my children were in the military. I fully understand that, and as a combat military wife, we were explicitly told that if they wanted them to have a wife, they would have issued them one. And if they wanted them to have a family, they would have issued them one. And that, they own them, we don't. So we are on a need to know basis. And, but meanwhile, they were, because at the time it was Desert Storm, and my now ex was a combat engineer. And so they were building the hospitals, and they were building the prison camps, and they were literally ahead of the front line, having to take out the tank mines and clear a path so the troops could go through, because they would bury mines in the sand. And they were sending home letters to us saying, please send us nylon and plastic knitting needles, because their metal detector, they couldn't even have metal bootlaces, because any detection of metal, they would blow up. So they had to literally poke in the sand. I kid you not. They wanted us to send them knitting needles so they could poke in the sand for mines. I kid you not. That is insane.
Oh my
God. So the families are like, are you kidding me? What? How is that a thing with all this supposed technology? Which brings me to another point, actually. So there have been reports of a potential threat of Iran sending drones to attack California. And when I say they, I mean the GOP standard messaging seems to be, because they're all saying the exact same thing now. They all have the same script, which is the first red flag of this is manufactured. That Joe Biden's open borders have allowed this to happen, and yet supposedly they're coming from offshore drones. So I don't know how that fits, but that's okay. And supposedly Mexico has had this drone technology to come over the border, and you know they're a potential threat to Texas and California, and they're sharing this technology with Iran. And I'm like, I guarantee you, every country has drone technology, first of all. And so it's like they've all got their messaging, their new messaging on point, and it feels like a setup for, oh, there's too much trauma and drama for midterm elections. It just doesn't pass the smell test with me that it's manufactured. Yes, potentially there's a threat because we're pissing off another country, but I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I totally see where you're going with this, but I don't see the midterms being canceled.
No, I don't think so either. I think they're going to try, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Yes, like the SAVE Act, I don't see it going through. I don't feel like, but they'll try. Of course, they'll try, but they're not going to be able to stop these. People are see there's going to be enough protest that will not allow them to do those things. Is there a risk? I feel what is true, though, is that the Iranians clearly have thought of this war being not just continental Iran, obviously, because that first reaction, it just kind of went everywhere. And so it would surprise me that they are involving entities all over the world that could attack places either in continental US or, for example, consulates or embassies. I can see that. I can see bombings or terrorist attack for US embassies. Yes, I think it has already happened.
It's already happened. Yeah.
I see more of it.
Yeah, I think they're trying really hard to run on the old shtick of the border, because that's how they convinced people last time. So they're going to try to use it again, and they're going to try really hard that, because we're under threat, now we need to take control of the voting booths and all of that kind of stuff. But they're going to try. I don't see it happening, though. I think it's still going to go through. Every war we've ever been through, we've continued to vote. So, sorry.
This is not going to stop that. It still doesn't quite make logic that there's a drone threat, and so we wouldn't do elections. I mean,
yeah, I know. Well, it doesn't stand a logic of, how can you complain about Joe Biden's open borders when this is a ship off of the coast sending a drone? A does not equal B, but this is who we're dealing with. They're going to keep throwing spaghetti at the wall until they find something that people want to pick up. So
that's right.
Yeah. So hold on. Sherry had a comment we were talking about earlier. If not for the current occupant and COVID, I wouldn't be here at all. I wouldn't be doing any of this. Honestly. Yeah, seriously. So if anybody has a political question you would like us to address, please put it in all caps. I'm old and blind, and it helps me see the question. So, Cindy says she saw Nick Fuentes and Alex Jones while telling listeners to vote blue down the ballot. Really? Wow. Well, we'll see. I don't know. I don't trust any of them. They're all liars.
I know. You can't certainly. I mean, it's like I saw Trump talking about, is it a war? Is it an excursion? And he said it's both.
Yeah, well, it's not a war because he didn't get Congress approval. So, at best, it's a police action or military action, right? So, F-45 is trying to federalize voting. That's why he seized the voting ballots from Georgia. Yeah, absolutely.
Save Act. think that's the purpose of the Save Act, but I don't see that going through.
I don't either. They really want it to, and actually, the other part of what they're doing is they're saying, "Well, see, this is why we need funding for Homeland Security because the Democrats block funding because of ICE." And so this is their complaint of that. That's what Ted Cruz was saying this morning, was like, oh, the Democrats are making us more unsafe, and it's because they wouldn't let us be funded that all of this is happening. So, that's their story they're trying to spin. Hold on
And there's
here.
something that I also saw while the questions are coming, it's worth really discussing is the very unfortunate shooting at the girls' elementary school, the 175 girls. And aside from the human tragedy, it really appears now that it was obviously the U.S., but
We were the only ones with Tomahawk missiles. It had to be us.
and it was basically because the reason for it to happen is because it was based on our old intelligence, basically old maps. And so that is really scary because the war that's happening, it's based on old information. And that really says a word about the state of the intelligence under Trump, where it was a warehouse, now it's a school. I mean, and you didn't see that?
Also, how ironic is it that it's a school for little girls? I mean, somebody said the other day, it's the little girls that are going to bring that man down. It's not going to be any of the men in Congress, that's for sure. Craig Dixon has a question: is F-45 going to call for martial law? I certainly think he wants to, and that's the whole thing with, as soon as No Kings 3 happens, he's going to be, there's all this devastation and everybody is out of control. He wants to, but he'll do anything to try to seize power and control. The thing is we're not like any other country. Right? We have 50 independent countries within one country, So, and each state has control of its own voting. It's just not going to happen. He wants to, and if it were any other country, whatever he's doing now probably would have, but I just don't see it happening in the United States. So, I don't know. What are your thoughts?
No, I pulled some cards. I got the Fool. Yes, there's an interest, but it's not really going to the next step. 9 of Wands. No, I don't see that happening.
Yeah. Marina.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. Yeah. That was always the joke in our family. If you're driving and somebody turned left, it was like military left or left. Yeah.
I like the comment from Artist. She said, intelligence, ?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Well, especially now because countries are not sharing information with us because they can't trust us. They've stopped sharing information. So whatever we have is, old and out of date at best. And everybody knows how, that man is not well. He's, he is a psychopath and he is not well. So it's scary. So here's the question. I don't know if you heard or not, but the FBI system got hacked, and they hacked into the Epstein files, and apparently got many of the records. Some external, another country influence. They're calling it a rogue hacker, but it's questioned whether or not it's connected to an actual government. But they got hacked, and they now have the Epstein files. So
there's a possibility that a foreign country has just gotten access to the Epstein files?
Yep. And so not only is that a thing of okay, they could disclose it at any time, but also they have the orange man by the short hairs. you know, so that could make some interesting negotiations.
But I felt like even prior to these hacking, some countries had a fair amount. I
Many
mean,
countries, yeah.
yeah,
But if they're all complicit and it's a domino thing, like okay, we all agree not to. It's like we all agree not to push the nuclear button, right? We all agree not to disclose this, but if
yeah,
one of you does, then we all have information on each other. But if somebody who is not guilty gets access and can use it for
yeah.
any deed they want, so I don't know. It's curious. I was going to pull some cards on that, see what happens with that with the hacked information. And right now they're really trying to downplay it, which tells me that they're worried.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think about that? Do you want to pull a card on that and see?
I did for Pentacles, so I feel like those countries are gonna hold it like a treasure chest. You see, like in this card, it's kind of a treasure chest, and then they kind of page of sword, page being small, the sword is the information, drip by drip, almost using each file as a piece of evidence, giving them power. Queen of Wands. So it's almost like whoever did that is not going to release the whole thing. It's almost like release drip by drip by drip.
Uh-huh. I got the Queen of Pentacles. So yeah, she's gonna she can create her world however she wants, and keep control of any of the information, any of the politics, any of the financials, any of the FBI files. But then I got the Ace of Swords, so the Sword of Truth coming out, and then I got the Hierophant.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a somebody powerful is definitely holding the truth in their hands, and they have control and can do whatever they want with it. So that'll be interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. Marina says, "Death by 1,000 cuts?" Question mark. Also interesting that FBI found missing files the day after the estate released more info, pictures, and video. And I found some information too that there's some cadaver dogs that have been released on Zorro, and it's a little bit conflicting information. I know they're trying to not release that information, but that was something that I called quite a while ago, that there were going to be many, many bodies that they found in a variety of places, actually. So I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but they will find them eventually. I don't think they're going to be released until F-45 is no longer at charge.
I also felt like also timing-wise, kind of adding on to what Marina was saying, is there was also the FBI interview of an inmate that was in the jail where Epstein was found dead, and they kind of listed like a series of 10 plus coincidences, like wow, really, like all those things went wrong all at the same time. Like the camera stopped working at the same time, that the guard were not doing their round at the same time, and there was like 10 different events that just all happens at the same time. And so I felt like, obviously, yes, I think a lot of us imagine this is not a big coincidence, but it really feels like maybe some inmates have information.
Oh, yes.
So there could be a time where under a different administration, it's like, okay, well, we could reduce your sentence if you tell us what you heard that night.
Mm-hmm.
And who you saw coming in and out. Was it
all these mysterious visitors?
Yeah, Bill Barr.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I wanted to point out Terry, not insulting the military, just sharing my personal experience. So no insults intended at all. But they are heavily mega though. I will say that a lot of them are. So, but had many members of my family in all of the different branches. So not meaning any insult. Okay. Oh, this is interesting. Silky still been waiting for a big rain because there's going to be bodies in the arroyos. No,
Oh,
I hadn't thought about
yeah,
that.
that's true.
Huh.
That's true.
Yeah. So, what do you think? What's your feeling on the timing of the Iran thing? Do you think? Because I think he's in over his head. He was expecting he was going. I think he was expecting to go in, be a bully. Netanyahu wanted him to go in and help Buddy out, whatever. And now there's bigger trouble than what he anticipated. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, purely about the warp timing. Again, like I'm not an astrologer, but starting a war during Mercury retrograde, I think that might not be the best timing. Um, and also, I feel like he really had the pressure from Netanyahu, indeed. And I get the sense that it was caught. It was caught into either if he doesn't do something, if he does something, it just went. I felt like I sensed a lot of pressure, and it had to go in. But yes, it did, as you said, it did not happen as expected. Particularly, I feel like the way that Iran transformed this war into like a whole regional conflict, that I think was not anticipated.
Yeah. You want to pull some cards on the Iran war and just kind of the overall energy and outlook of it?
Yeah, like where is this going?
Yeah.
Iran war, where is this going?
Oh my. Well, I got the judgment card.
Okay.
Followed by illusion and delusion. And the fool for the new beginning. Wow.
And
So they're going to be spinning a bunch of stories. Not, yeah. And I do feel like this is going to change things and kind of create a new narrative to the world order, so to speak. I think that's what F-45 is trying to do. We've made a lot of former allies really angry. I mean, look at Canada. They made an enemy of Canada. Who makes an enemy of Canada? Like seriously, that's like walking up to your best friend and punching them in the gut. I mean, that's the dumbest thing, So we've made enemies around the world, and we've made allies of people that used to be our enemies. And it's going to take a long time to repair a lot of the damage that's been done. I mean, we're seeing it with trade agreements. We're seeing it, now in wars. And I mean, yeah, I do feel like it's going to create. There's a new beginning. That's a new way of being, and new friends, new allies, and new enemies. Regrettably,
going with a new world order. I got the King of Pentacles. I mean, this is kind of usually how I see Trump. But I think also further than that, the Pentacles really refer back to the importance of the economy, like we were talking about earlier. Like it's going to be about the economy and the gas prices. The moon is the equivalent of your Seven of Cups, the lies, the secrets, the behind the scenes. I think a lot of that will be going on. Interestingly, that moon might refer back to a 30-day cycle, maybe a change after 30 days, because then we get the Four of Cups, which could
Mm,
be a ceasefire. I don't see this. Yes, there will. I mean, the war, the conflict will continue on for generations. The conflict, the
yes.
war, as we know it itself, I feel like there will be a ceasefire, which doesn't really resolve other than obviously preventing people to die, which is kind of a big deal. But yeah, in the meantime, there could be that 30-day window where it gets really, really, really messy. This whole war zone in the Strait of Hormuz, that seems, I just have a bad feeling about it.
Hmm. That's gonna, because that's cargo, not just oil, right? That's that's supply chain, not just energy. Um,
That's
it's a lot, and they attacked 3 ships. Um, where were they from? Oh gosh, where were they from? Um, like a completely like separate country from all of this, So anybody who
yeah,
enters that area, they're getting bombed right now, and they've already lost people, and they had to abandon ship, and they can't find 3 people, and yeah. And then the other thing, I do think that the war, quote unquote, aspect of this, I'm feeling like maybe a couple of months, maybe 2.5 months, something like that. But the the effects of the political and social and economic damage, I think, is going to be felt for a long time. But the worst part for me is the environmental impact, the acid rain, I mean, you're you're lit it's literally a death trap there right now. I mean, you can't help but breathe in the toxic air. It's literally toxicity raining down on them. It's going to kill animals, it's going to kill crops, it's going to kill humans. There's no getting out of it unless you can escape that area entirely. It is a death sentence, whether or not you're hit by a bomb. And
it's similar to Chernobyl. I mean,
yeah, yes,
you get to see animals with 5 legs and things like that. I mean, this is terrible what has happened post Chernobyl, where you see nature having really, really disturbed behaviors, animals that don't look like animals as we
yeah,
know them.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was really interesting. I met some. We have a large Russian community in our city, and I was at an event where it was mostly people that were here from Russia, and beautiful people, lovely people, lovely family, and they were talking about, they came here. Her husband was working in Chernobyl, or in that area,
Oh,
and they were not allowed to leave. They had to continue. They had to stay there. Um, to do whatever work it is they were doing, or clean up the area or whatever. They were not given the proper safety equipment, of course, and they were not allowed to leave. They had to stay there. And so, I mean, who knows what the long-term effects are for the people that, are in that situation too. But she said, yeah, generations of people so far, having kids, them having families, and then those kids having families. The birth defects and things like that are awful, and the animals that died, and part of the amazing thing, much like you were saying, is there's almost like there's new resilience in animals and plants that are growing in that area, and they're creating a whole new ecosystem, which is fascinating to me. That's resilient to or resistant against like nuclear, and I find that fascinating. The science behind that is curious. I'll be curious to see if
yeah.
what's come of that. But somebody says they're worried about the Nimitz off of California. Yeah, we had family friends who were stationed on the Nimitz actually. So yeah.
So we can read on that. Yeah, we can put a couple on. And what is the risk here? I think it's both the risk of the boat being attacked, but also like could it be used as a target? Would it lead to the coast of California? And
yeah. I think they're worried about it being attacked. Yeah, all of that. So worried about it. Is it going to be blown up with one political story or another, basically?
Yeah. What's gonna happen with this?
Yeah.
Nimitz? Oh my God! I don't start very well at all. 10 of Swords. Oh, and then the next one it gets better. I don't want to influence you, but the Devil.
Oof. Oh my God! The first card I pulled was the Devil.
Two Devils.
Oh my God.
Really worrisome. 5 of Pentacles. It's a card of loss, usually financial loss, but it could be a human loss.
Wow.
Not liking this at all.
No, I did get 2 of Wands, so I think there are some parties trying to decide exactly what they're going to do and how this is going to play out. But then I got the 8 of Swords, so they're sitting ducks basically, and pawns to whatever the powers that be decide to do. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's not
two-sided devil. It could really be used by both parties to create an incident. I just keep getting that sense like it's a two-sided. So it could really
I said the powers
used.
that be because it's all these manufactured plans. I mean, people in the military are the pawns of the politicians, right? The politicians aren't the ones that fight the wars.
No.
Typically it's the poor people that fight the wars.
And I get this sense like both sides kind of want some sort of incident to shift the narrative. It's really bad, really bad.
Oof. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's not looking good. That is not looking good. And Auntie Shaw, I think, probably pronounced that incorrectly. Look into former Dalton, Illinois Mayor Tiffany Henyard. She was removed from office as a Democrat, is running as a Republican now in Fulton County as district commissioner.
She's really going the wrong way here. Most of the Republicans are going independent or maybe Democrat. She's going the other way.
So what I'm wondering now is she running as a Republican hoping to get elected but is really a Democrat? Or was she removed? Did the Democrats remove her because she was too Republican? Why did she get removed? I don't know anything about this story.
She was removed maybe because something wrong happened. And now she's running as a Republican. That's not the right call.
No.
Yeah.
It's not. Huh. Okay. So what is the question specifically, Auntie? Are you wondering if she gets elected? Is that what you're curious about?
Yeah. Most likely she gonna be elected. But I mean, Fulton County, there's just so much going on there. That's
a hotbed of a mess. Yeah.
Dalton. As district commissioner. Okay.
Huh. Well, it's interesting because I pulled the justice card. And then I got the sun. So there's some illumination with this. And that was followed by Page of Pentacles. And you got the justice card. Interesting. Huh.
She still has some problems. I get the sense like this is not over.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Got the page. So there's a new story she's trying to weave here.
But might win. I feel like my Four of Wands, that's kind of a strong. But it could be that she gets elected, but then there's something that comes up and she might have to be removed again. Something like that.
And then I pulled the Eight of Swords.
Yeah, it's.
Huh. Yeah, I don't know what she's playing at. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
I'm going to use my dowsing rods and see what they say. So is, hold on, what's her name again? Let's see. Dalton. I'll put that up there. Tiffany Henyard is her name. Okay. Gotta greet him here first. Hi, guys. Here we go. So for those of you not familiar with my dowsing rods, this is yes, and this is no. And I'm moving slow because I realize I have leg. So Tiffany Henyard, is she going to win the election as county district commissioner? They're saying yes. At this point, is she going to be removed again due to issues? They don't think so. Huh. I almost feel like the justice card came up because she's like, oh yeah, well, I'm going to do this and then I'll get my justice because I'm still going to be there. You can't get rid of me. That's, kind of this, oh yeah, well, fine, I'll do this attitude. I don't know. Yeah. And then with the Page of Pentacles, so that's her new beginning. It'll be interesting to see what she does with this. I don't get she doesn't feel totally stable to me though. I don't know, like what's wrong with her. That's interesting. That's an interesting area. Yeah, now with MTG's seat being up for grabs also. Yeah. Let's see. What do you think's going to happen with her? I feel like she's changing her tune, trying to stay in, and she's just removing herself so she doesn't get arrested, and then is going to try to reinsert herself later.
I don't see her totally backing away from politics. I think she might run some sort of like sub-MAGA group, waiting for the MAGA group to kind of disintegrate and take a part of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I've been feeling for a while that the Republicans were going to fracture. And I think eventually the Democrats will too, honestly, because the Democrats are tired of the corporate Dems. And I think it would be a great thing, actually, if both parties did. We need more competition, honestly. The hard part is if there's any outside group, they can't be elected in all 50 states because there's some states that don't allow that. So that's why Bernie had to try to run as a Democrat, even though he's an independent, because you can't get on the ballot in all 50 states as an independent. So where it's really difficult to. So they need to and the two controlling parties aren't going to willingly allow for competition. We know that. So really interesting. So, all right. Well, it's been about an hour. So, is there anything you want to read on, like just general poll before we go?
Yeah, let's just I don't know if we just put a card for the energies for April, maybe, or end of March. What do you feel?
How about because I feel like this might send us on another thing too, but I feel like right now it's all rats leave a sinking ship, and they're going to start turning on each other, right? And we've already started to see that. So how about, because I feel like spring we're gonna see a lot of that. So let's get the overall vibe of for spring, because we're just about there. Yeah, because then June will be summer. So yeah, let's do like a spring vibe of what's gonna happen.
Huh. Oh, I'm not liking this.
Hmm. Hmm. Go ahead if you have stuff.
Okay. First card is the Judgment. So we can look at it both ways, in the sense like there might be information revealed, communication revealed, an announcement of some sort. There's definitely communication coming out here. I really didn't like the Devil to show up again in our cards. And then the Five of Swords, a lot of fighting. So that could be the war, that could be, issues domestically. And then I'm using my I like this deck with just one card, the Triad Oracle.
Oh.
And I pulled one card and it said prayers, which is not a good sign. No. So I feel like, what do I see for April? Something being revealed, released, some sort of information coming out. I see a lot of fighting, that could be the war, and continuously fighting, those evil energy. And we're gonna need like to keep our spiritual energy high. This is not three an easy month or a couple of easy months.
Yeah, I ended up pulling several cards because it was like there was more story, but I do feel like there's more Epstein information that's going to come out, and not enough and not all of it. And I honestly don't feel like we ever will see all of it. But I feel like some of the victims are going to start to be vindicated, and that there's going to be more truth revealed. And this is going to open up even more investigations and more questions, and a lot of this stuff is going to start coming to light. And all of a sudden, like, they're not going to be able to control the narrative anymore. Everything's going to be turned upside down. And this is my mega card, actually. So, and it's moved to the past. So I think mega is going to start to feel the hurt. We got gas prices, food prices, more of the Epstein files being released. this war that nobody wanted, potential homeland threats. Like they're finally going to start waking up, I think, which is what we started the show with. Are they ever going to wake up? And because Mega's moving to the past, so they're going to start to fracture. There will always be some that will always, have drunk the Kool-Aid and are never going to change their mind. But for everybody else, life is going to get hard because it's moving to the past. And then I got the moon is crowning everything, and that's all the secrets, right? And the illusion and the intuition and the secrets that are starting to be revealed. And I got the Queen of Wands. So there's people that are going to be pulling out information. They're in control of this plan. You know that there's a lot of people that have all of this information, and they're in control of what gets released and when it gets released and how they're going to use this and how they're going to bribe or get whatever they need out of this. And so we got, this is coming in the future as the Queen of Wands. So, and I love the fact that it's a woman, so very interesting. Again, I think the women are going to bring him down ultimately. But right now we're all brokenhearted. And we're feeling like we're betrayed, and nobody wanted this stupid war, and we can't afford to eat, we can't afford health care, we can't, where people are literally sick and dying, and that's the way that he wants us, because that's how he keeps control of everybody. But also, like I said, all rats leave a sinking ship. They're all starting to feel people turn on them, and they're going to start jumping, and they're going to start doing the blame game. Whose fault is it? Because it's not theirs. And whether or not they're going to start feeling the heat of, do I lose my law license? Am I going to end up in jail? Do I need to leave the country? What do I need to do? And meanwhile, the country is going to be like, holy hell, what's going on with all of this trauma and drama, and just trying to stay afloat, just trying to live, just trying to pay our bills and eat and keep a house. But ultimately, I see the Six of Wands, which is, it's a bit of a false victory, because even if we get him out, which, whether he takes a dirt nap or whether he leaves the country, it doesn't matter. I don't see him finishing out. He won't be here by next year at this time, I think. But whether or not he's, even if we cut the head off the snake, we still have all of the other poison there. And the thing that he did do is he did give us the, if you weren't aware, it opened your eyes to how much of that mindset is in this country, whether or not he's here. There are people who believe this. There are people who think that way. There are government officials who are willing to do the bidding of somebody like that. There are, so we still have the poisoned waters that we have to deal with, even with him gone. And that's why I think it's a false victory. It's going to take a hell of a lot for us to clean up this mess and make sure this doesn't happen again. But ultimately, that's what I get. It's going to be a rough and rocky road, as we all know. So buckle up, Buttercup. But I think the big thing for people, so you don't spiral into our own personal depression and anxiety, is keep your eye on the prize, that ultimately we will come out of this, and try to, keep that pinpoint light. But it is going to be a rough road and rocky road for a bit, I think. But more information is coming out, and that's what needs to happen in order to bring them down. That's what I get. So
awesome.
Yeah. Wow. Well, thank you everybody for joining us, and thank you, Nathe. I appreciate you being here and joining with you. It's been a pleasure. Do you have any other things going on today or the rest of this week that people should be aware of?
Yes, I have. Trying to remember. Tomorrow I will be live, kind of on a solo show for current events, so discussing kind of current events and politics. And Saturday I'm on Kyle's channel, and for personal questions, and then Sunday with Denise, with Jackie and Kyle on a current events kind of panel.
Nice. Very good. Today I've got 2 more things going on. There is a psychic medium. Renee is going to be joining me. She does not have a YouTube channel. She's a personal friend of mine, but she will be joining me on my channel at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. And then there's Golden Girls Coffee Clutch tonight. I believe it's going to be on Sherry's channel, Voices from the Swamp. That's 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. And then Sundays, I always have my general live. Although, let's see here. I think, 1 second. This is the week that Sabrina will be joining me, because Sabrina and I collab every couple of weeks to talk about new moons and full moons and what the astrology vibe is going to be. So Sabrina will be joining me on Sunday for the general live. Then Monday I do my fireside chat with my members. Tuesday, Jackie B and I are doing a collab, and Kelly Scarborough and I are going to do a collab. And then I'm taking a vacation for my birthday weekend.
Happy birthday.
So that's what's going on the next week. But thank you very much, Nathe, for joining. And please stick around as we end. But everybody, have a great rest of your day and hope to see you later on.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.